I don't know if you've ever heard this, but Donald Trump is a bully. Yes. And what does that mean exactly? He's a 79-year-old man, and he's out there stomping his feet and threatening people who are having serious reservations about his big abominable bill. Why does he need to do that? Like, why does somebody who has as much power, like real power as he has, need to throw temper tantrums whenever he doesn't get his way? Well, that's because he doesn't have the actual power as an individual. He doesn't have the actual facts on his side to sway people to believe that his position is the right one. Why? Well, because it's not. This big abominable bill will be disastrous for Americans, yeah, but Republicans don't care about that. It will be disastrous for Republican prospects in the 2026 midterms, and that they care about. Impoverishing people who live in rural areas, that's fine. Making sure that people in rural areas don't have hospitals, no problem. Making sure that veterans and children and other people don't have access to food, they don't care about any of that. However, so many of the people who are going to be negatively impacted by draconian reductions in Medicaid and SNAP benefits live in very red parts of very red states, and that is going to threaten the reelection bids of many, many senators who just so happen to be Republicans in those states. So they're standing up, pretending it's on principle, but for their own power. And Donald is in this position he's been in for much of his professional life. He has a losing hand, but thanks to other people who give him power, other people who make allowances for him, other people who make excuses for him, he has the ability, he has the money, he has the wherewithal to throw a colossal temper tantrum and threaten people into doing what he wants them to do. Not because it's the right thing, but because it's what he wants. So expect this to get a little out of hand. The question is, are Republicans going to stand up for their power? Again, not for the American people, not for their constituents, or are they going to cede even more of it to Donald Trump? Let's dive. One of my favorite acronyms. It's spelled DeTaco, but again, the D is silent. It is ringing true yet again. For those of you who don't know, it stands for Donald Trump always chickens out. Again, the D is silent. And when it comes to tariffs, Taco is almost always operative. This time, Donald has once again extended his timeline for countries to make a trade deal with the United States. Caroline Levitt said today that the deadline for countries to strike those trade deals may be extended, and here's what she had to say about it.
On the July deadlines coming up for the trade deals, is that deadline still hard and fast for the president, or is he now considering even coming to trade deals after that deadline, and where is he on that going forward?
I think the president has been asked this quite a few times by many of you in the media. I've heard him answer it at press conferences and at gaggles. He just spoke about it on Air Force One. The deadline is not critical. The president can simply provide these countries with a deal if they refuse to make us one by the deadline, and that means The president can pick a reciprocal tariff rate that he believes is advantageous for the United States and for the American worker.
Oh, so he's just picking and choosing these tariff deals now. And by the way, deadlines that keep getting moved don't really have much of an effect. So now Donald's reciprocal tariffs come into effect. The deadline for those reciprocal tariffs to come into effect will expire on July 8th. But again, the deadline's not critical, or that's what Levitt would have us believe. And this is, again, probably because nobody's biting. Donald has failed to make any important deals. Now, this is far from the first time Donald chickened out. At the end of last month, he threatened to put a 50% tariff on the European Union, but quickly delayed the penalty to July after European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen agreed to negotiate. To this day, the only deal Donald has made is a very weak framework of a deal with the UK, which kind of sounds like outlines of plans of a concept or something. Obviously, trying to save face, which Caroline Leavitt accurately told us recently is what authoritarian regimes do. Donald claimed in his speech today that they've also struck a deal with China. Take a look.
Everybody wants to make a deal and have a part of it, right? I know you and Howard and Scott are working overtime, making deals with other countries. Remember a few months ago, the press was saying, do you really have anybody of any interest? Well, we just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China. We have everybody. We're not going to make deals with everybody. Some we're just going to send them a letter, say, thank you very much. You're going to pay 25, 35, 45%. That's the easy way to do it. And my people don't want to do it that way. They want to do some of it, but they want to make more deals than I would do. But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, very big one, where we're going to open up India.
Maybe. Yeah, so proof of this deal remains to be seen as China has yet to confirm or deny. I'm pretty sure, given the recent history of China claiming that everything Donald says is untrue, I'm pretty sure I know which side I'm betting on. As Donald continues to screw up his trade war, the U.S. economy is already suffering. It shrank faster than previously thought during the first 3 months of 2025. The GDP fell at an annual rate of 0.5% from January through March. And the Commerce Department reported this after it had estimated only a 0.3% decline. On top of that, the dollar went skidding to a 3-year low today after investors worry over the central bank's independence as Donald continues to come for Jerome Powell. As somebody who is soon going to be traveling abroad to Europe, I can tell you the dollar is very weak. So thanks for that, because basically what that means is everything is more expensive if you're American traveling abroad, which is not exactly good for anybody's economy. So one of the reasons we're in the situation we're in is because so many people who knew better peddled the absurd myth that Donald was a great deal maker. Of course, nobody peddled this more than he did, but people who knew that it wasn't true also amplified it to benefit themselves as much as to benefit him. So his hardline tariff deadlines mean nothing because nobody will make a deal with him. Why? Because he's the one with the weak hand here. In the meantime, the economy is continuing to worsen, and he cannot handle it. The Trump regime also continues to wing it completely when it comes to their immigration plan. It's been made clear by the DOJ that plans to deport Abrego to a country that is not his El Salvador, continue after he's released from jail in Tennessee. Prosecutors for the DOJ said this to a federal judge in Maryland. This time, Donald plans to send Abrego Garcia to a third country. Which country, when, lawyers for the executive branch refused to say. The only thing we know as of now is that the federal prosecutor declared deportation will not happen immediately, and allegedly, the Trump regime will comply with all court orders. After reports have leaked that the DOJ has been telling attorneys to ignore court orders, it seems they're now trying to backtrack and assure judges that they'll actually comply. Now, I'm guessing part of this is just theater to make Emil Bove, who is now Donald's nominee for the very powerful Third Circuit Court of Appeals, look better after he was completely humiliated during a hearing by Adam Schiff, because he is the one who has been telling DOJ attorneys to ignore judges' orders. So basically, the Trump regime and Donald's DOJ are changing their plans and their strategies depending on who needs what, or depending on who is willing to hold them to account. So basically, they're going to do whatever they can to make it seem as if they have the intention to, what's the word I'm looking for? Comply. But in the meantime, they're also making it clear that they're going to continue to deport people to third countries. That is, not the United States, not their country of origin, but to some unknown, unspecified country that is completely unfamiliar to them. So it's not just the Trump regime doing Donald's bidding. It's also the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court. And another hit to reproductive rights, that supermajority ruled today that Planned Parenthood and one of its patients cannot sue South Carolina over an attempt to deny funding to the group. The vote, of course, was 6-3, with only the so-called liberal members in dissent. This is a major blow to women's health care because this suit was not about abortion, as the use of federal funding to receive that health care is already banned. This ruling targets all other services at Planned Parenthood. The Supreme Court ruled that patients cannot sue if a state blocks them from using Medicaid providers like Planned Parenthood, even for non-abortion care like cancer screenings or contraception. The court's extremist supermajority said only Congress, not judges, can allow these types of lawsuits. Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson all disagreed vehemently, arguing the law gives patients that right. And it does, as it should. I just want to remind you, because this is extraordinarily important. Obviously, the right has been gunning for Planned Parenthood for years now because Planned Parenthood does provide abortion care. They also provide STD screenings and, as the name implies, family planning, something that you would think the right would embrace. More importantly to this issue, that gets completely lost in the mix because the right makes it sound like Planned Parenthood does nothing but provide abortions all day long. You know what percentage of services Planned Parenthood provides are abortion services? 3%. So because of that, all funding to Planned Parenthood is being stopped. While the courts try to shape U.S. policy, Republicans in the Senate are failing to pass their own bill. Republicans are, quite frankly, freaking out after a Senate parliamentarian handed down a major loss to Donald's big abominable bill. The parliamentarian ruled last week that Section 71120 of the bill, covering healthcare provider taxes, that's the section that would gut Medicaid, violates the so-called Byrd Rule. This rule determines what legislation is eligible to pass the Senate with a simple majority vote on the budget reconciliation fast track. So in other words, instead of needing 60 votes, if something is pushed through reconciliation, it only needs 51, and the Republicans have those 51 votes. Now, Senate Republican Tommy Tuberville, potentially the least intelligent member of Congress, is trying to get fired, taking to Twitter saying, quote, trying to get the parliamentarian fired, saying, quote, the woke Senate parliamentarian who was appointed by Harry Reid and advised Al Gore just struck down a provision banning illegals from stealing Medicaid from American citizens. This is a perfect example of why Americans hate the swamp. The Senate parliamentarian should be fired ASAP. Wow, he's not only deeply unintelligent, he's vile. Not all Republicans agree, however. Republican Senator John Kennedy said that all the senators respect the parliamentarian and believe she should not be fired. When it comes to Donald's budget bill, it seems that Republicans can't even agree on that. They don't seem to agree on anything. So Republicans are scrambling even further to amend the bill after finding out their Medicaid cuts would break Senate rules. Thankfully, this is a major setback as Senate Republicans hope to vote by the weekend to attempt to meet Donald's 4th of July deadline for passage. And Republicans were already struggling to get support for these Medicaid changes that some senators would leave millions in their state without coverage because, as I said at the top of the show, they don't really care about the people involved. They do care, however, that they will get considerable backlash if they support a bill that essentially makes it impossible for their constituents, the people who vote for them, to get health care or food or hospital care. Some senators are even personally asking Donald to revert to older versions of the bill, and Senator Josh Hawley is among those who spoke to Donald personally. But Donald is still doubling down on the lie that his bill will leave Medicaid alone. Let's take a look at what he had to say today.
And we're going to also cut costs. We're cutting $1.7 trillion in this bill, and you're not going to feel any of it. And your Medicaid is left alone. It's left the same. Your Medicare and your Social Security are strengthened. We're not cutting. The Democrats are going to destroy all three of them because it's not sustainable. They'll end up cutting your Medicare, Medicaid in half.
How is it possible to cut $1.7 trillion from a budget and have nobody feel that at all? It is so blatantly a lie. It kind of makes my head explode. Listen, no matter how many times Donald tries to claim this, none of it's true. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates the Medicaid work requirement in Donald's bill would lead to about 5 million adults losing Medicaid coverage by 2034. With the Republicans so divided on pretty much every single aspect of Donald's bill, but particularly the Medicaid cuts and the SNAP cuts, I have a feeling that we're going to be hearing a little bit more about Taco in the not too distant future, because it's extremely unlikely that he's going to be able to get his own party to vote for his bill by July 4th. So again, good, but these Republicans will find ways to hurt as many of us as possible, as long as they can do it in such a way that it's not obvious that they're the ones responsible. There is an imperative in the Republican Party to pass something that is huge and that is able to compensate for the tax cuts for the extraordinarily wealthy and massive corporations that they want to make permanent. So expect a lot of maneuvering, expect more threatening, more temper tantrums, and much more lying. Because in many respects, the Republican brand is at stake, and so is Donald's, at least appearance of being a powerful deal maker. Because if he can't keep his own party in line, then what would make anybody think that he can negotiate with anybody about anything? Of course, you and I have known for decades that the idea that he's a great deal maker is bullshit, but that's still operative in certain circles. So let's hope that certain Senate Republicans are more concerned about getting reelected than they are about making Donald look good. No easy task, mind you. All right. I think it's Friday. No. Whoops. It's not Friday. It's Thursday. My apologies. Wow. Look at a calendar, somebody must be saying to me. I know. Jesus. Sorry about that. It's Thursday, which means we will be back tomorrow on Friday. But clearly, this means that my brain is a little scrambled and we need an emotional support moment. So breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, audibly if that makes you feel better. So today's emotional support moment takes us 200,000 light years from Earth to a small satellite galaxy, which is home to the young star cluster NGC 602. I wish we had better. Maybe we should start having contests of how to name these things better. I mean, I understand why they do that. It's probably more organized than calling it, I don't know. I'm not gonna come up with anything off the top of my head, but you know what I'm saying. Let's have a contest and come up with something warm and fuzzy for the star cluster NGC 602. This was captured by the Webb telescope using its NIRCam and MIRI instruments, and it shows a region that looks a lot like the early universe, low in heavy elements and full of dense dust clouds and ionized gas. It's an incredibly good spot to study how stars form in environments very different from our own cosmic neighborhood. So, because this is astronomy and it's awesome, let's take a look. Wow. Sorry. I love that. I hope you do too. All right, let us get to your questions, comments, etc. Kelowna, thank you so much for that. That's awesome. Tina, member for 1 month. Excellent. Comment. Thanks, Mary Mods and team, for keeping me sane. You're welcome. And thank you again. Love my dogs a lot. Thank you so much, as always. Question, Mary, has Donald been full of hatred, anger, and the need to be cruel during his entire life? And has he always enjoyed demeaning people? What does he get out of being so toxic? Not his whole life. I mean, he was a toddler who wasn't, when he was a baby and a toddler, he wasn't. But yeah, it didn't take long. For very complex developmental reasons. If you guys are interested, I actually wrote a book about it. It's called Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man. Came out in July 2020. And some people call it a memoir, but I think it's more of a psychological history of my family. And it goes into all of Donald's developmental history, psychological history. So you can check that out. What does he get out of it? Well, part of his problem is that he is a very weak, terrified little boy on an unconscious level, and demeaning other people, being cruel to other people makes him feel better about himself and makes him feel more powerful, which is incredible considering he's president of the United States of America. Maya Cheryl, as always, thank you so much for gifting 1 Mary Trump Media membership. Fantastic. Debbie gifted 5 Mary Media Trump memberships. Debbie, that's extremely generous. Thank you. Maya Cheryl, again, comment, Mary needs a new mic fee. Actually, Funny story. Mary does not need a new mic. Mary needs her mic to be connected. I know I'm using this because it's like a habit now, but I'm actually, my sound is going through my computer mic, which is terrible. So it's just a technical difficulty that we did not have time to figure out. But no worries. My mic should be fine. I might just need a new cable or something. So if you want me to use the fee for something else, let me know. Cat treats, perhaps. Julia gifted 1 Mary Trump Media membership. Julia, thank you so much. That's great. Shauna, super sticker. Thank you so very much for that. Awesome. Lauren, another super sticker. Thank you, Lauren. Excellent. Bill, new member. Thank you, Bill. Welcome. It's great to have you. Hazy Trippin' Daisy, super sticker. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate it. Pam Klein, thank you for that. Hi, Mary. Comment, small fee for helping me stay sane through all of this BS. I love you. Oh, thank you. I mean, I appreciate that. Not sure how I'm helping you stay sane, but if I am even a little bit, I'm glad. It is not the easiest time in history to stay sane, is it? Donna, thank you so very much. That's really generous of you. And hello again. It's good to see you. Comment, Donald needs to go away fee. Oh boy, does he ever. My word. My word. Regina, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Comment, Homan says he's been separated from his family due to his work. Oh, wow. I call it karma. Just the unself-awareness of that comment. For those who don't know, Tom Homan is a Nazi who is also a member of the executive branch. He's referred to as the border czar, but there's no such thing. And he has basically made it his life's mission to separate people from their families illegally, unconstitutionally, simply because they're brown. And he hates brown people because in addition to being a Nazi, he's a racist. So yes, he's complaining that he's working so hard that he's separated from his family. What a shame. And good for them. Jane, thank you very much, Jane. That's great. Comment, you are one of the few people who can keep my anxiety level below that which needs to be medicated. Question, how do we get the inert congressional Republicans to stand up for morals, law, and simple kindness? Well, first of all, thank you. I'm glad this helps. Secondly, there's literally nothing we can do. The Republican Party is over, in my view. We need to, the only thing that could change, if Donald does something that crosses a line, the only thing we can do is make sure that these people never have power again. Natalie gifted 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. That's awesome. Thank you very, very much for your generosity. Back on the Republican front, just quickly, if you're a registered Republican or you live in a state where you can vote in other primaries, there you go. Primary them. Jenny, super sticker. Thanks, Jenny. That's great. Smoked. Comment, this will hurt them in coming year. It better. It had better. Confused philosopher, comment, the big question is just how crazy are the MAGA nuts if they feel the pain of the taco regime and still support it? Well, I mean, that's a cult. And a lot of these people have been brainwashed in one way or another. I mean, that's not really the term to use, but they have been steeped in right-wing media for so long, they will believe whatever they're told by certain people. So I wouldn't hold out too much hope for them to come to any great realizations. Grid Sleep, comment, the only way we have to fight Donald is to vote for Mamdani and to vote Democrat in the midterms. Yeah, exactly. We need somebody in as mayor of New York, which is an extraordinarily important position, who will stand up to Donald and keep his ICE agents out of here. And yes, Democrats need to win as much as humanly possible in the 2026 midterms. in the middle of nowhere. Thank you very much for that. That's incredibly generous, and we really, really appreciate it. Comment, oh my God, maybe this, maybe that. Why are women's or anyone's private medical decisions a matter of legislation? Mary, you are not alone. DJC's math makes my head hurt. My head explode too. My head hurts, fee. Yeah, and it gets no, like, oh, whatever. It's just, it's taken as gospel. It's people act as if it makes any sense, or that, he's not flailing. It's quite maddening. So let's see how this keeps going, because it's not getting better. And thank you again. That's very kind. Jana, thank you as always. Go Mets. Seriously, they're amazing right now. Comment, here's a little Aspen the cat rescue fee. I've been trying to get him for a few months and finally did. In case you need some happy news today. And by the way, thanks for all you do. Well, you're welcome. We are very honored to be able to do what we do. And that is such amazing news about Aspen the cat. Congratulations to both of you. Suki56, thank you so much as always. Question, is there that much fear in the GOP? Is that why Mike Johnson seems so scared? Just asking. I'm not really sure why Mike Johnson seems so scared, but he is one of the worst people. And he is such a grotesque sycophant. He will do anything. He will say anything. Anything to make sure that he remains Donald's biggest lick spittle. It's quite stunning. Jalore, question, is that above or below the flat earth? Megan needs to know. Yeah, exactly. The earth is flat and there's no such thing as evolution or gravity. Jeffrey, thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey gifted 1 Mary Trump Media membership. That's awesome. Stephen, thank you very much, Stephen. That's great. Comment, love you, Mary, for all you do. Your good works will be your legacy. Well, thank you. We try, we try really hard. And you guys help us tremendously. Nadler's kid, thank you very much. Comment, I absolutely admire you, Mary. Well, you guys are making me blush tonight. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's incentive to keep doing it. That's for sure. Zella, thank you very much for this. Comment, I'm still waiting for that asteroid image. Zella. Sorry, I'm blanking. We'll track it down. Or if you can put it in the comments, we'll figure it out. But if we owe you an asteroid image, you will get an asteroid image. Oh, you mean of the asteroid that's supposed to hit Earth? Yeah. Maybe. Some people on the planet. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. To everybody watching on YouTube, everybody streaming on Twitter and at the Substack, The Good in Us, everybody listening to the podcast, we really appreciate it. To everybody who's a super sticker, who gives us gifts, and to everybody who's joined our YouTube membership, so appreciate it. Along those lines, we just had our inaugural session of our monthly banned book club. It was awesome. So check that out if you're interested. We talked about the book All Boys Aren't Blue, which was in 2024 the most banned and challenged book in the country. It's really quite something. It's a young adult memoir, but I think everybody should read it. And next month we'll cover another, because that was for Pride Month. So next month we'll come up with a different theme. So it was great to see everybody there. Looking forward to the next one. To our moderators, thank you so much for doing the heavy lifting. And of course, to my awesome team. I thought it was Friday. I think I thought it was Friday on Monday. The weeks are getting longer, and yet they keep doing the work and putting in the hard yards. And I literally cannot imagine where I would be without them. So thank you, team, for everything you do. That does it for us. I will, because it's Thursday, not Friday. I will be back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern for the next episode of Barry Trump Live. Do not forget, we have videos dropping every day, and a really helpful thing you could do for us, because we're trying to get to 500,000 subscribers, is like and share our videos, comment on those videos, and subscribing to the channel. That's an easy thing you could do, and just spread the word in whatever way you can. We so appreciate that, and again, every little bit helps. So I will see you tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.